we had Bucky Brooks on Friday's show, correct? Chris Brockman?
Correct.
And on Monday's show this week, Greg Cosell, both of the NFL Media Group. And both of them, when I asked them about a quarterback that they saw on tape that was ready to win now and was shooting up the charts, or somebody that hasn't been mentioned a lot in the first round selections who have the best chance to make it in the pros faster than not, we're hearing Desmond Ridder of Cincinnati. And his head coach is joining us here on the Mercedes-Benz Vans phone line. The winner of 7 national coaching honors as his team made the national championship semifinal out of Cincinnati. Luke Fickell, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well, Rich. Thanks for having me.
You bet. Thanks for coming on. Let's first talk about what's going on in your world. I guess we received word that your spring game is going to go indoors and fans will unfortunately not be able to attend due to weather concerns. Is that what's going on this weekend for you right now?
Yeah. I think for us, it's a little more important to get a really good evaluation, not having Desmond Ridder anymore.
Yes.
On 2 quarterbacks to give them some better opportunities to play the game. So we're gonna take it inside and eliminate the fans a little bit, but we'll still have a scrimmage and we'll still go about doing our evaluations and still make the families, because it's a big deal for the families to come in town.
Of course.
Like that
and of course the fans too. I mean, folks there in Cincinnati, I mean, what an incredible football season, and seeing your team do what it did. And one of my favorite parts of the Bengals run was seeing Zach Taylor bringing game balls to bars around town, and handing it out to fans. I mean, the fans deserve, obviously, to see your team and celebrate in it, because it's been incredible. A heck of a run.
No, it has been. And obviously, it's a football town in general, from high school football to college football to pro football here. And, so, yeah, it's unfortunate that we have to take that away. But we're kind of on the back end of things next year as we get into camp. We know we'll open up some things and make sure they get a good sneak preview of what we will be and what they will see the next year during the season.
Let's start with your quarterback from the last several years. What a terrific run, again, Desmond Ridder had at Cincinnati with you, for you, Coach Luke Fickell. And so many times when we talk about prospects in the draft, we refer to the prospect as a kid. But this is a full-blown adult, right? Like, he's a full-blown adult, Desmond Ridder, Luke, right?
You said the last several years. Just for sure, the last 4. So he actually started for all 4 years. Redshirted as a true freshman, and had we known who he was and he didn't get hurt in camp, we probably wouldn't have redshirted. But yeah, he started for 4 straight years, and so yes, he is mature beyond his years. He has taken some lumps, and people wouldn't recognize the lumps he's taken because he wins. But there's a lot of lumps that went into playing as a freshman, playing as a sophomore, as you grow through, not just learning the game, the college game, but also really kind of grooming a team. So it wasn't that he just had to learn how to play quarterback. He had to kind of bring a whole culture along from his freshman year on.
I guess also was referring to the fact he's a dad, too. Like he's got
and he threw another thing onto the plate of being a father as well. And in some ways, I tried to tell him I thought that was a really good thing for him and a good step, because Desmond Ridder in general is one of those perfectionists, and he can't ever let it go. And when he became a father, when he had his little girl, I said, this could be the greatest thing for you, because you need some serenity. You need a chance to be able to step away, and maybe when you go home and grab her and spend some time with her, you can actually have a chance to let your mind relax.
There's nobody who can force you to let things go quite like a child.
I would know. 6 times over, I understand that.
Now, I've got 3 at home myself. What do you mean by it's tough that he has tough times letting things go, though? What is that? What are you referring to?
Well, he's a perfectionist, and unlike kind of like me too. When I go home, and my wife's like, "Can you just be here now?" And my head is running about things that happen in practice, and that's him. I mean, he wants to be great. He wants to. It's always on his mind, and which is an incredible, quality to have, especially as a quarterback. But I also think that there's a point in time, I said, sometimes you got to let your mind rest, and a little bit of that serenity is a good thing. And for a guy that's this perfectionist and wants to be perfect at everything he does, I think it was a good way to kind of get him to be able to relax a little bit.
What teams have been? What are teams asking you about him the most? What are they picking your brains about him the most, Luke Fickell?
They don't like. I hear this. They don't like to ask the head coach because they think the head coach only tells you the good things. They think they got to dive and dig into somebody in the program around that. They're going to sneak some information from. So I don't get as many calls, but the guys that know me, their biggest thing is tell me what, is he really like the pro, like the learner, the teacher? Does he understand the game? How really smart and knowing of all. And I'm like, might be one of the greatest things he has. I sit in the quarterback room usually every day, and he could run those meetings and he could teach it.
Luke Fickell here on the Rich Eisen Show. The highest drafted Cincinnati Bearcat, however, might just be your cornerback, Sauce Gardner. When was the first time you met him? Walk me through that.
He was a junior in high school. We had this little thing we called club that was unique to us, and was like what the Olympic sports have. So we'd have a little club team, and we could practice them. And so we would be able to do some recruiting with those guys. And he came down from Detroit, was at our club workout one day, and from then on, so we became, obviously, when we really started recruiting him. But I didn't think he could play for us, at least in his first 2 years. I'm like, we'll take him because he's long.
Right.
But he won't play for us. He won't, I don't think, for 2 years at least.
And
I was completely wrong. I think it was game 4 or 5 when all of a sudden we finally got smart enough to put him in, only because our guys were tired. We were playing UCF and all their tempo, and I think maybe the first series he made a play, and then the second time he was in, he pick-sixed it, and all of a sudden we're looking at each other like, why don't we just leave him in the game?
I was about to ask you, is that one of those moments where you share a look with your assistants and your fellow coaches, and you're like, okay, all right?
Yeah, exactly what it is. I kind of looked at Coach Freeman and those guys at that time and were like, maybe he's going to be just fine in there, even as a young kid. So, yes, we thank goodness, we gave him an opportunity, and he proved me wrong early on. Well,
I'm just going to walk straight through the front door with you, Coach Luke Fickell. I'm a Jet fan from New York City, born in Brooklyn, raised in Staten Island. I want him. I want him 4th overall. I want them to write I want Joe Douglas to write the card in Sharpie right now. And part of the reason why is, again, I met him for about a minute at the combine. That's about it. And so the eye test, it was just like he had me at hello. And I saw the sauce chain, but I also didn't see that he struck me as somebody who is very self-confident, but not self-absorbed is really what I got. And I'm seeing Tyreek Hill on the Dolphins now, and Stephon Diggs signed forever in Buffalo, Devontae Parker to New England, and I want somebody who won't look at those assignments and say, I don't know. Am I wrong? Is he going to be a guy based saying I'll take those guys, or what, Luke?
I think you nailed it. I mean, in the sense that he is incredibly self-confident, but not self-absorbed. And I've tried to tell so many people this, like, he's the best high-end guy I've ever been around. I mean, and I don't mean that like, is he the best player I've ever been around? Best corner? I think so. But he's the most delightful to be around on an everyday basis just because he loves to play. He's got a great personality. He's got a great sense of humor. And he's competitive as hell. And, when he walked in the door here, he had this self-confidence that you're like, dude, you're not that good. I mean, maybe in 2 years you'll be able to play for us, but come on now. But it wasn't phony. And that's why when he went out there, his first time playing for us was against UCF. And UCF was, lighting it up. And they were going as fast as they possibly could. And I'm petrified thinking, okay, we're going to stick this freshman in here for a series just to give our guys a break. And holy cow, we didn't take him out after that. And it was like, maybe that self-confidence goes a lot further than I thought. So he is very self-confident, not self-absorbed at all. And just one of those guys with a personality. It only took you a minute.
Yep.
If you'd have spent more time with him, you'd have liked him even more just because that's him. from the day he walked in the door to the day he left here.
Well, I think he only had a minute because they were putting him in that tube at the NFL Network with the confetti for his his hero shot as we were going to break, to play that footage, and he was just a natural, and I saw that, and I'm like, that's who you want. Because walk me through, if you don't mind, a couple more minutes here about how he solidifies the defense from the back end. How does he do that?
Well, for us, we ended up being able to cheat a bit because on the backside of things that, this past year, nobody really even wanted to, try him at much. So in a lot of ways, they would stick somebody back there that they were not going to throw to anyway. So we were able to do a lot of different things. But I think the standard that he set, we had a guy on the other side that obviously won the Thorpe Award.
Yes.
In Kobe Bryant.
Yes, I know.
And the two of those guys' ability to be different but the same in the way that they had the same expectation, it made it. I mean, it made our whole group. It made the confidence of everybody around you greater. And I say that about a quarterback, right? To me, the quarterback is the key, not just because he's the offensive guy running, but if you have a great quarterback, your defense has a hell of a lot more confidence. And I think the same way when we had a guy like, most particular, Ahmad. I don't call him by his nickname.
Why not?
Until he gets drafted. So for 3 years, I've been like, no, I don't know that guy. I know Ahmad, and I always joke with him. I said, once you get drafted, then I will call you by your nickname. But until then, you're still Ahmad. And but they give everybody around them so much confidence,
right.
And their coaches as well. So great to have.
Yeah, I mean, one of our glue guys, which we referred to because I was giving out a small amount of scratch for an NIL deal with Gorilla Glue this year to kids who don't really expect having an NIL deal. We gave it to Alec Pierce, I believe, after your game against Notre Dame, and I liked him too. So pound the table a little bit for him and anybody else that's in the draft before I let you go on your day.
No, I think he had 140 yards or 140-some yards that day.
He killed it.
Yeah. So, I was spot on with Alec, in case you guys are wondering. When he came here after his freshman season, we moved him to linebacker, So I was spot on with that one as well. And then after his coach left, he came back to us and said, hey, I think I'd really rather play wide receiver. I'm like, okay, we'll move you back to wide out. So, so thank goodness we moved him back to wide out. But I think that the unique thing about him is being around Kobe and Ahmad, it made him and it challenged him every single day. Those guys, their second year, they probably fought a little bit, because he was in the boundary with Ahmad all the time. And then this past year, it was like they slapped hands every day before every rep. And it was just like this healthy competition that I think really made each one of them that much better. And I think he's still scratching the surface. He is a guy that can make some big plays down the field, but I think he's such a highly intelligent guy that he's going to do nothing but get better and better with the game. And for us, sometimes we just used him, in the way we needed to use him and taking some shots down the field. But I think that there's a lot more things he can do.
Before I let you go, how often do you hear from Kelce, Travis Kelce? Or how often did you hear from him?
Just saw him last week.
Yeah,
actually,
I bet.
He's back for the former player outing. So I try not to hound him, but I tell you what, he's one of those guys, if you ever reach out, he always is hitting you back, and he always says if there's anything we need. And with this NIL stuff now rolling in, I told him, I said, I'll never ask you for money, I promise you, but we may ask you for a little bit of time, and we might need to use your name and your face and that personality to help your future brothers.
Oh, you should bother him all you want, man. I mean, come on.
I figure, hey, when he's done playing, then we'll hound him. But until then, let's keep building up that resume that he's got, and we'll get him back here at some point in time.
Well, I think that when he goes back to Ohio, it might be Canton. To be very honest with you, I love him,
and we would love. There would be nothing greater than to celebrate that. So we're that's why I don't want to bother him. I don't want to give him that opportunity until that time, man. He doesn't need any more distractions.
Well, I appreciate the time. Have a great scrimmage now for your spring game, and let's stay in touch. Congrats on everything going on with your program, and tell when you see Ahmad, as you would refer to him, tell him I'm personally want I want the sauce to be brought to New York City. I want all the sauce is what I want.
I will do that. And I don't know. Are you from Michigan originally too?
I am not. I went to the University of Michigan from New York.
Okay.
As you know.
Well, then they missed out on him. So, but anyways, besides that, I didn't know if maybe you guys were tied there at the hip.
Not at all. I just love his game, and I'm serious, Coach. I was around him for 60 seconds, and when you see him, you're like, okay, so you play defensive back, like for real, and then I saw the chain, and then I saw just the way he acted to everyone around him, and I picked up on all that in like 60 seconds, and I'm like, that's it. That's the guy. That's it.
And I tell you that he's not phony. So that's the beauty of it. He that is him all the time. So no, he's done a phenomenal job. He's going to do an even better job at the next level. And all those guys had phenomenal maybe not as good as your combine. I didn't see what the actual time was this year.
I haven't done it yet. I'm doing it in 3 weeks out here, as a matter of fact.
Okay.
Yep, that's where I'm doing it.
I'll have to make sure that I'm watching.
Oh, yes. Well, I mean, it'll be on all the sports tickers. You can't avoid it.
I figured everything will kind of pause and make sure they flash to the 10 seconds.
You will wonder if I have any eligibility left. Let's just put it that way.
Just don't ask me to do it along with you.
Okay, you got it. Coach, take care. Let's do this again. Greatly appreciate it. You got it. That's Luke Fickell, head coach of Cincinnati, right here on the Rich Eisen Show. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.